You do. You look like you need a podcast or something.
I know, right? I need to do anyway. We're not even gonna go
Yeah,
there.
it's fine.
Yeah. So, we just want to thank everybody for chiming in and watching. Tammy says she can see all of us. Thank you, Tammy, and chiming into our first Q&A, home ownership Q&A live on Instagram. And thank y'all so much for bearing with us. Woo-hoo. As we get it all figured out. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, but if not, then if you have any questions, then you can come on in. This is the time for you to ask your questions.
And
Or
maybe
if not,
before we start questions, let's do introductions for
oh, that's
everybody.
right. You're
So
right.
we can
Mm-hmm.
get Krista to lead. Since me and you are with the same company, we'll go behind her. So go ahead, Krista. Give
Yep,
an
that works.
introduction of yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Krista Lowry. I am Vice President and Senior Loan Officer at First Citizens Community Bank. I've been a loan officer for 31 years, helping first-time home buyers and everyone else buy a house. So we're here to talk about grant money and, whatever it is that you want to know about buying a house, that's what we're here to talk about.
Absolutely. Yolanda.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yolanda Green. I am the traveling realtor. Many may think I'm new to this, but back between '06 and 2012, I was a realtor. Recently, I reinstated my license, and I'm with
Awesome.
co-workers.
Yay. Yay. And hey, y'all, I'm Desiree, Real Estate Diva McDuffie. I am an agent with Caldwell Banker Realty. I have been an agent, I can't believe it now, almost 20 years. Next year will literally be 20 years for me. That's insane. I feel old, but
Don't.
yeah. I can't believe I've been doing something for
We're
20
not getting
years.
younger, though, that's for sure.
Yes, yes. There you go. We're getting younger for sure. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we just wanted to do this live to be able to answer any questions that anyone has, because we were not unfortunately able to do the home ownership workshop today due to the weather, right? We wanted to make sure everyone is, safe and, not having to travel over all of the snow and all of these things. So, and it's
It's
cold
ice.
outside.
Oh, it's ice
Yes.
out there, too.
Yes. What is it, like 2 degrees outside now? Something like, at least it feels
Crazy.
like it. So,
And
Crazy.
Philadelphia cities and the roads and the conditions is just terrible.
yeah, yeah. So, we just wanted to make sure everyone's safe, including us, right?
Right.
So, let's just do this then. If everyone is in agreement, because I don't see anyone with questions right now. We see our folk on here. Hey, folk. But we don't see anyone with questions on here right now yet. But why don't we just do it in the format as if we were doing a home ownership workshop, right?
Okay.
So not as formal, but let's just start there. So we want to start with you, Miss Krista. Wait a minute, Miss Brooks has a question, and Miss Broker B say hi.
Hi.
Yolanda, she's the broker of
Yeah.
Believe Realty Group. Thank you for chiming in.
We
Appreciate
appreciate it.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So Tammy has a question. Hold on.
Yeah, we got a question. What
What
qualifies as a
qualifies? Go ahead.
first-time home buyer? If I own a home with no current mortgage, would I qualify? That's a good question. If you were gifted a house, say by a family member in a will, and you never actually lived in that property, you would be considered a first-time home buyer. So that's the first category. If you have a house, but you paid off your mortgage and you live in the property, you would not be considered a first-time home buyer. But I do have down payment assistance money for people that are not first-time home buyers. So that's a pretty awesome program. So you could have a property, decide to rent it out. Maybe it's too small for your family. You want to rent that property out and buy something else. Let's say you buy a house for $400,000. I can give you $20,000 down
Turn it
payment
off now.
assistance to buy your second house. So that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Another question that I often get, and I just had to explain this to someone a few days ago, actually. They inherited a house. So they wanted to know if they would qualify as a first time. Well, they thought they couldn't. And I had to tell them that
They can.
They
They can. Because they didn't actually buy the house. They were gifted the house. So that's different. That's different.
I
So,
also see another question, ladies. I guess this one is also for you, Krista. It's about the difference between a HELOC and what was that, Nye?
I guess she's saying home equity loan, a HELOC
oh, a
or a
HELOC,
home.
the different, yeah. So a
Mhm.
home equity loan is a loan where it's like it's any other kind of loan. They give you the money, and then there's an installment contract to pay it back. So you pay back, $200 a month for however long the loan is for. That's a home equity loan. A home equity line of credit, which is often called a HELOC, is where you get the money and you make typically interest payments every single month based on how much you have owed on the line, and pay the money back, and then you can take it out again. So you can usually reuse that for about 10 years before it turns into a fixed loan where you have to pay the balance off. A home equity line of credit gives you more flexibility for using it, paying it back. So if you get an income tax refund and you want to make a large payment on it, then your line of credit is available again. It's kind of like a credit card, how a credit card works.
Okay, cool. And do we have any other questions right now?
No, I'm manning it for questions, so I'll let you
Okay,
guys say yours. So go ahead.
perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. So let's just start with the question I know that we all get, right? So what credit score does a person have to have in order to be able to qualify for a loan or mortgage?
Ideally, a 620 score is going to be the better credit score to have to try, because you can get the very best interest rate with a 620 score. So we will do mortgages less than a 620, but you're going to pay a higher interest rate. So, if you got like a 600 or a 605, we're going to try to get you to that 620. It's the difference between, say, a 7% interest rate or a 5.25% interest rate. It's a huge difference. If we can just get to a 620. And usually there's some like quick things we can do to get your score up.
Okay, cool. What about a person that we see online a lot where people advertise, oh, we can get you
If you do
financing with
anything
a
and you make any
500
more
credit
noise, I'm
score?
gonna
Like, is
after
that
this
even
pull your
possible,
pants down and
Krista?
beat you. Get off of it now.
So, yeah, actually you can with those lower scores, but you need to have at least 10% down. And you have to be able, it has to make sense. But typically, if you have a 500 credit score, there's something going on, like you're not paying your bills on time, or there's collection accounts, there's things like that. So we're looking to make sure that you've paid your bills on time for the last 12 months. And if you have a 500 credit score, you probably are not paying them on time, or there's collection accounts, or there's something else happening, or maybe there's just collection accounts and you don't have any new active credit. I do want to mention something about these, and I could do it now or I could do it later, about, in fact, as I was thinking, we should have a credit class, like
Okay.
literally
Yeah, I
teach
think
people
that's
how to
what
use
I do.
credit, because I think we need everybody on it essentially, because I'm looking at about 100 applications a month and 50% of them have bad credit.
Wow.
And
Okay.
you get the emails when it happens and you see like what's happening. People don't understand like the short-term loans that they're getting with a firm or self or lead or BMG money. All those short-term accounts are hurting people's credit. So I think I'm going to put together a class for credit, just
That
to
would
try
be
to teach
awesome.
people.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, I should have thought of it like, I don't know, 20 years ago, but
It's never too late. Never too late.
might as well
Absolutely.
start now. Yeah, might as well start now. But yeah, credit's
Absolutely.
Krista,
important.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
sorry to cut you off, Krista. I see another question for you.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that credit class is always useful, especially because some of us are aging out of, like, we've purchased and we're considering selling and repurchasing, right? But there's a
Right.
question for buyers in that category asking, when does it make sense to refinance?
Um, People refinance for a whole lot of different reasons. Sometimes they're getting divorced. Sometimes there's a death in the family. So those are often reasons to refinance. Right now, a lot of people who bought in 2020, 2021, they have these really low interest rates, and the last thing they want to do is give up their rate. But people have accumulated debt through the years. Almost 5 years has gone by, and a lot of people picked up the home equity loans or the HELOCs, and those rates are higher. They're bouncing up. So sometimes the refinance is good to combine your mortgage with your home equity loan, or sometimes even your credit cards. I have people that are refinancing to take cash out to buy an investment property, because you need 20% down to buy an investment property. So there's a lot of reasons to refinance. And then it's got to make sense. If you're just refinancing to reduce your interest rate, it doesn't necessarily always make sense. And I will see if there's a break-even point and if it's worth it for you. And I'm not the kind of person that's going to say, oh yeah, refinance because I want to make a paycheck. If it doesn't make sense, I'm going to tell you it doesn't make sense and not to do it, or not to do it now,
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I referred someone to you the other day, but they asked me why you, and I said because she works with integrity. She has integrity. She's not just going to try to get the loan done any kind of way that she can get it done.
Right.
If it's not benefiting you as the consumer. So, I love that about you, Krista, that, you have very high integrity and you're willing to work with people, with their credit is not good. You're willing, the young lady we just got pre-approved the other day, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. We just had somebody who, I think I'd have to look on my computer and see, but it's at least 3 or 4 years. It might even be longer.
2019. No, 2019.
Wow.
2019. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been that many years that she's been trying. And, sometimes I have to deliver news that is not good. If I have to say listen, it's going to take you a year. This is why, you didn't do these things. You have to do these things. And then the next year will come by, and the first thing I say is, how did you make out with all the suggestions I gave you? And sometimes they say, well, life got in the way. Somebody got ill in my family. I got divorced, whatever the situation. I lost my job. And this girl had it really wasn't a credit issue situation. It was a job situation. She couldn't find the right job. Her job just wasn't right for her, all the jobs that she had. So the job turnover wasn't going to work for a mortgage. And anyway, long story short, all this time later, we finally got her qualified, and she is through the moon excited. Right?
Yes, she really is.
She's through the moon excited, and I'm excited for her, and you're excited too for her also, Des. So yeah, we stick with people. We stick with you.
Krista, so thinking about what you're saying, I've been speaking a lot with newer buyers, well, younger buyers, put it like that, and which will be newer. And I have been advising them that the first step they really should take is to talk to a mortgage person. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and kind of just get an idea of what they need to do. Because if anybody is going to tell them the most accurate information, it is the loan officer. So, and even it might be 6 months, like you said, it might be a year, it might be 2 years, but at least if they're talking with you early on before making decisions on their own to fix their credit or whatever, or save all this money and then they don't need it, at least they have better guidance from you.
Yeah, and I was going to say, not everybody in my job does that.
Right.
I mean, they don't. They really don't. In fact, I have people, I can see who ran their credit report, and I will often say, well, what did that person say? Oh, that person didn't say anything. That person never called me back,
Right.
And that's why, I like to fight for people. And, many years ago, I decided, first-time home buyers is my gig. I will handle everything. I'll handle the $1 million buyers, the buyers at the shore, whatever. But I really do enjoy the first-time home buyers and helping them gain something. I heard on the news within the last month that the average age of the first-time home buyers is 40. And that is really sad to me, that people are not buying houses
like they used
earlier.
to. Yeah.
They're bypassing the starter house. Why are you going to bypass the starter house? Because when you're 20-some years old, in your 20s, you buy your starter house, you stay there for 10 years, you gain some equity. And then when in your 30s, you can go and buy your, the house of your dreams, and you have money to put down because you had a starter home. And so it really upsets me that 40 is the average age. Wow. So I actually had the bank print out for me the average age of my buyers last year, and I haven't had a chance to figure it out, but I'm telling you right now that it's not 40. It's not 40. We got to get these younger folks to buy
Wow.
Wow.
sooner than later. So I think what we need to do is fix the credit and then get them to buy. I mean, honestly. And I practice what I teach. Both of my two children are in their 20s and they both own a house. So
Wow.
listen, I'm not saying anything to anybody else that I wouldn't tell my own family to do, honestly. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
I
is all
purchased.
good information and great about the younger buyers.
yeah,
Also telling them to look at the starter homes, because my daughters are getting to a point now where they are actually considering, and I thought they were going to get on, but they didn't, but they're considering to either move or leave or whatever. And so I'm telling them, like, look at the duplexes. You guys can live together.
Mhm.
One here, one there. And so afterwards, like you said, like, and there are still in the city of Philadelphia duplexes under 200K. So
yes,
those
there
are
are.
like starter homes. They might not
Perfect.
be in the best neighborhood, but like within 2 to 5 years, you can rent them out and then go back and get everything else in, like your income in order, and buy that home you really want.
Yes,
Mhm.
100%. I totally agree. But it's the people because they're in their 30s and their 40s or 50s even, and they're like, well, I really want this dream house. You know, I don't want to be in this area anymore, even though I've been there for 30 years. I don't want to be there anymore. But
Right.
it's just like they didn't start somewhere earlier. No one helped
Right.
them. No one pushed them. No one urged them. That's
Hmm.
where we have to step in and say, listen, take my hand. Let us guide you through this. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
really the truth.
Yeah, I tell my story all the time. I purchased my first house at 25, and it was
Yeah.
nowhere near a dream house. Like, it
Yeah.
was literally a house that people did drugs in.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
I purchased this house, but I
Yes.
saw the vision, right? I knew in time, right? I saw the neighborhood changing. People were building and fixing up stuff around it. So you just have to be like, you know what? This may not be my dream. As a matter of fact, my father and I, we had a huge argument about me buying this house. He did not want me to buy this house
Yeah.
at all because the neighborhood wasn't that good at that time. But this is my neighborhood. This is where I'm from, right? So I was okay to be there. But now I have an opportunity to build my
Yes.
truly dream house,
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so if I hadn't done that, then I would have just been starting from scratch. Now I have a ton of equity that I can pull out and put towards the, new purchase and new build. So, I tell people all the time, please don't think that you have to buy the huge house at 20 something years old. Don't let social media talk you into that con, but because basically it is. It's a scam.
And I'll
Don't
tell you
let
guys
social
that
media tell you that.
I bought my first place when I was 23, and it was a condo, and I paid 69,000 for it. And I'm proud to say that one of my goals was to pay a mortgage off from start to finish, and that house saved me actually. I bought it when I was 23. In 2006, the mortgage market like crashed. And
Hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
house saved me because I was able to pull money out of it to like live
Wow.
for six
Yep.
months until like the mortgage market came back. And
Mm-hmm.
I owe 19,000 on that property, and I'm going to pay it off in the next couple of years, and I will have accomplished my one thing that I wanted to accomplish, but is to pay a house off from start to finish. And it's probably worth 3.25 right now,
That
325.
that's another reason why people should buy early on. I see one
Mm-hmm.
more question. The question is saying, can you share, and this is for Krista as well, the main costs and benefits associated with a FHA loan versus a conventional? That's a
So
good
yeah,
question.
yeah. So with an FHA loan, you can put 3.5% down, which is not a lot. It's minimal. You can have lower credit scores, so it's really good for a first-time home buyer because the credit requirements aren't as stringent. So it's 3.5% down. We can ask for the seller to pay up to 6% of the closing costs for you. Just to give you an idea, a quick math thing, to buy a house for 200,000, it's about $25,000 for the down payment and the closing cost. So, people hear those numbers and they get a little bit scared, but this is where we come in, where we're like, okay, where are we going to find this money for you?
Right.
Whether
Right.
it's grant money, whether it's seller assist, that's where we come in, is to try to find where this $25,000 can come from. And yeah, sure, you might need some of it, but I had an awful lot of people last year that needed under $2,000 to buy their house, including my
Mm-hmm.
son.
Right.
$2,000 to buy his first house out of his pocket because he got grant money. So, we are here to do it. As far as conventional goes, conventional, if you have the higher credit score, 720 and above, you could put 3% down, and the closing costs are about the same for both. So it's which one can you get approved for, which one has got the better rate. For example, the FHA rate right now is 5.25 for a first-time home buyer, and the conventional is 5.875. So the interest rate on conventional is a little bit higher than it would be on FHA. So that's my job, is to figure out which loan is going to be better for you and why.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more question I see for you, Krista, and I think this is a good question as well. When you pull equity, it's going back to what you said about the house that you purchased for $69,000 and then eventually pull equity out.
Yeah.
When you pull equity out, aren't you required to pay it back? I'm assuming she has a tenant that's paying it back for her, right, Krista?
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
So I lived in that condo for about 18 months, maybe, when I was 23. And then I went on and bought the second house. I've had about 19 houses in my time. But that first one, yeah, I've had a tenant in there the whole time. And I had a 30-year mortgage to start.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2006, when all that happened and I took money out, I refinanced it to like a 15-year at that point. So I didn't go back to 30 years again. I went to the 15-year. And so, then I can pay it back in a shorter period of time.
But your tenant is paying it back, essentially.
My tenant is paying it, yeah. So
Right.
my mortgage payment is like $1,100, and my tenant pays $1,500. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Nice. Nice.
And all of you can do that. Every single one of you can do that. But you got to start with the starter home. That's why it's not a good idea to buy the big house to start with, because I have generational wealth. Like, say I am no longer here, that's going to go to my kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's called generational wealth. What are you going to pass down? And I saw someone on here say 50 years old, want to buy their first house. That's totally fine. We will help you at 50 years old. I've helped people at 70 years old, 75 years old buy their first house. There's no age requirement. We don't turn anybody down for age. We're not allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So yes, when you pull equity out of your house, you do have to pay it back. Yes, whether it's a home equity loan or you refinance and you go to a 15-year, or you extend it out. Let's just say you have your house and you're aging and you're going to go to retirement soon. Maybe at that point we refinance and make it longer, make it a 30-year loan so that your payment's down in retirement. So there's a whole lot of things that we can do, but you can't do any of these things if you don't have a house to begin with. So that's where we come in to try to get you that house.
Yes. And to your point, Krista, regarding the equity, the loan we closed, you and I closed together a few days ago, that buyer was able to get a huge down payment for her new home because of the equity.
$250,000.
Yes, because of the equity her parents had in their home.
Right there it is, right there.
Wealth. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it goes forward. So, her kids will get it. And it just goes down the line. Like that's moving your money to the next generation is the way to go. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start anywhere,
Absolutely.
Kensington is the new up and coming area. And, people are like, oh, I don't want to be in Kensington. But you kind of do want to be in Kensington because it's all being the areas are being energized, all the areas. And so anywhere that you have real estate is good. You know what I mean? Like just anywhere is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris, I see another question for you. Going back to FHA versus the conventional question, they're saying, are there still more stringent inspection requirements for FHA, or are you required to live in the home for a certain amount of years?
So, any mortgage that you sign, conventional or FHA, the document actually says, I intend to live there for a year. So, that's the intention, is for a year. Now, as soon as you start talking about grants and grant money, the grants have requirements of how long you can be in the house. For example, the Philly First grant is $10,000 if you buy in the city of Philadelphia. And they require that you live there for 15 years or you have to give some of the money back. So it's more so a grant stipulation as to how long you need to live in the property. But conventional and FHA mortgages actually say I intend to live there for a year. So I have a guy right now. I have a few guys, but one in particular is sticking in my head. He buys a duplex. He bought the first duplex. He lives there for a year, and then he moves out and buys another duplex. And I say to him, because, you know, mortgage fraud is illegal and you can go to jail for it. So if you say you're going to live there, you have to live there. So I say to him, you sure you're going to pack up again and go? He's on his fourth one. He's in his fourth one. He's now talking about buying his fifth one. And this guy has moved every single year, but he keeps obtaining another duplex. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. So it
is
can
he
be
doing
done.
this? Is he switching between FHA and conventional, or is he just?
He's got a really high credit score, so he's doing conventional, and you can put 5% down. The rules change, so you could buy a duplex with only 5% down, owner occupied. So, you know, he saves his income tax refund. He saves money all year. He's a single guy. And then by next year, he's got his 5% down, and he does it again. And I'm really impressed with this guy. He's a younger guy. You know, pretty awesome.
I like his plan. It sounds amazing. And
yeah.
Some people move from apartment to apartment every year, every 2 years. So like to do that and to be creating generational wealth or just wealth in general for itself, passive income, no
And you know,
brainer.
if you bought that duplex, right, and your payment's $2,000 a month and your tenant is paying $1,000 or $1,200 a month, you're paying less than you would be paying for rent. You're paying $1,700 a month. So it's stupid to keep moving from apartment to apartment. That's why I'm saying, like, we need to help people fix their credit. Because, I mean, we would be so busy if everybody that applied actually got qualified. Can you imagine, Des?
Oh, my God.
I mean, Yolanda, it would be insane. I don't even know how we could help all those people, but we would.
Yeah.
We would.
We would do it. I'm not saying we wouldn't. I'm just saying that for the amount of interest that people want to buy, it's the credit's holding them back because nobody taught them how to do it. You know, no one explained to them what they should do. And so that's where, you know, there's no class in it in high school, you know, there's nothing.
There should be, but no.
Yeah,
there's not. My son just bought a house, I said, in November. And he called me today and he goes, Mom, the mail is out of control. I'm just getting all this mail and mail and mail. And he goes, what do I do with all this mail? And I said, well, you have to read the mail to see what you need.
Figure out what it is.
Right? Like, first you need to open it and you need to read it. But like, yeah, I said, or you can text me pictures of it like all my other buyers do. And they say, what is this? Is this something important? It says urgent. And I'm like, it's junk mail. You know, you need somebody on your back that you can call, and you need an advisor. You know, we're trusted advisors, essentially. That's what we are.
Absolutely. Well, Krista, I just want to point out that at least 2 of the people asking these questions are your clients. So they actually used us, to purchase a house.
Oh, hi, guys.
Anita and Tammy. Tamara Brooks. Yes.
You're probably getting my emails, right? You guys get my emails every year? Yeah, my Christmas cards.
Yes. Okay, we got another question.
What has been the biggest hurdle that your buyers have kept, that has kept your buyers from buying sooner rather than later?
That's a good question. So I'm gonna say something about that. So I teach the homebuyer workshops for a lot of the CDCs in the area. And my class actually can get you the Philly First money, the $10,000. And one of the questions that I ask these homebuyers is, what's the reason that you already don't own a house? What's the reason? What is stopping you from buying a house? And the 2 biggest things that I get is down payment. They think they don't have enough money to buy. And the second thing is credit.
Wow.
So we got the money worked out with all these grants. It's the credit. It always comes back to the credit. So I feel like that, you know, getting a bunch of people that don't have good credit together is going to help us help them down the line. See what I'm saying?
Yep. I see another question for you, Krista. And it seems a little bit more complex. So they're asking, so is it best to put the property purchase in a trust for the beneficiary?
I mean, that's something to discuss with your, your estate lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, putting it in a trust is, if you put a property in a trust when you're getting a mortgage, it's a lot more complicated. So my suggestion is to, in your will, say that should I perish, my money, everything that I have goes into a trust at that point. So you can designate that in a will, as opposed to putting, because if you put the property in trust when you're buying it or refinancing, it hinders you from doing other things with the property while you're still here. So, but you can set that up for when you're not here, that everything would go in a trust. And yes, that would save your descendants money in, in the future.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a question a lot of people do ask about the trust, because it's, trending. People are saying put your properties in a trust, irrevocable trust, revocable trust.
Yeah.
It can be very confusing to some people. So yeah,
Yeah.
speak to an attorney.
That's what I'm saying. Talk
Mhm.
to an estate lawyer. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe it's like $1,000 to get a will, and that's
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like there's other things you need to get. Living will, all these things that you should have. Give children, especially, or someone you're passing something down to. But it's an investment, for them, so that everything is designated when you're not here. It's the best way to do it. And I do have some referrals to those kind of lawyers if anybody needs it. So
Mhm.
This is a question for us, Des. If you had one piece of advice for anyone on the fence about buying a property, what would it be? This question is for all of us. Thanks, Tammy. I'll let you guys answer, then I'll.
All right. I mean, my advice would just be to do it. When people ask, well, when's the best time to buy a house? Now.
Mm-hmm.
Now. House prices, especially when you're looking in the Philadelphia market, they're continue. If you may see a small dip, but they've continuously gone up over the last 10, 15 years. So if I thought about buying there, even though I have my own home now, is there's other investment properties that I may have wanted to buy that I didn't buy. I look back like, God darn it, I should have
yeah.
bought that property because the value has increased so much, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when is the best time to buy? Buy now. Just get out your head. Get out your head, work with us. We'll work with you to to set a goal for yourself and make it happen for you. Because we can talk ourselves out of things for so long, and then it never happens, or it happens late in the game. And now you're, 60, 70 years old, 50, whatever years old, having to pay a 30-year mortgage. But can you imagine buying a house at 20 and paying it off in 30 years? You're done
Mm-hmm.
paying a mortgage at 50 years old.
Wow.
You're done paying a mortgage. All you have to do is pay your taxes and insurance. Or maybe not that great, maybe later on, but at least you started earlier, right? I know that I don't want to be 70 years old paying a mortgage. I don't want to have to worry about that, right? I just want to
Yeah.
pay my taxes and insurance. So the time to buy is now. So that's what I would say. Let's get out your head, put a game plan in place so we can put you in a position to be able to buy a house. That's it.
Krista, your response?
Ladies.
Yeah. My response is always the same. The best time to buy a house is as soon as you can. As soon as you can get qualified to buy it, it's time to buy. So if you got to work on your credit, it's going to take you 6 months or a year. As soon as that time comes, it's time to buy. Whenever it is your time, it's the time to buy. There's no waiting for, oh, I'm going to wait next year, whatever. And you said, over 10, 15 years, the equities have gone up. I can tell you about several houses, one in particular where in 2024, one of my buyers put an offer in on a property, and she didn't buy it because there was a deed problem. Okay, so they took it off the market. Almost to the year later in 2025, another one of my buyers put an offer on that same house, but it was $30,000 more than my buyer 1 year ago had put the offer in. They didn't do anything in the year. There was just a deed problem in 2024, so that buyer couldn't buy. The next buyer came in and paid, she ended up paying $20,000 more than the other buyer would have paid on the same house a year later. So every single year houses are
Wow.
appreciating. And that's why as soon as you can buy and start the equity rolling is the time to buy.
And my answer to the question is, if anybody is on the fence about buying a property, what I would say to them is like, what are your true intentions? I would try to get to know and understand that and try to convince them that, because everybody has an intention or a thought of why they want to buy a property. So getting to understand that. And so if it's just because you want to create passive income, then I'm going to say, let's look at duplexes. Let's look at triplexes. If you're on the fence and you're not ready to be in your big home, again, let's look at duplexes. Let's look at, what about condos? I'm at a stage in my life where I'm ready to give up the house, but I want a smaller space. But just like these ladies have said, because I purchased in 8 years, I've created over 100K in just living here. Um, so I can now utilize
Mm-hmm.
that money and buy a condo somewhere or use it as a larger down payment towards something else. So usually when it comes to real estate, whatever your intentions are and why you're on the fence, there is a way for us to be able to help and figure you out and to turn that on the fence into a yes. Um,
Yeah.
we have one more
Yes.
question. It's about, oh, we have two more questions. Hold on. Okay. Is the process easier to add someone on your deed?
You can add someone into the deed, yes. I mean, it depends on what reason you want to do that, because putting that person on the deed can hinder them qualifying for a new place. So what I mean by that is I have a girl right now. First of all, I have a million stories and they're all true, and it's on every situation that could ever happen. But um, this woman about 5 years ago, 2020, she co-signed for her dad. Her dad wanted to buy a property. He didn't qualify on his own. So she said, I'll go on there with him. Fast forward now to 2026. She wants to buy her own property. The dad made all the payments. She never made a payment. And the problem is that the taxes and insurance on dad's property is about $750 a month.
Wow.
So that $750 a month now gets added to her debt ratio because she owns that property. So, you know, do we want to hinder that girl from buying her own house? You know, or have to take her off the deed because she doesn't pay those taxes and insurance? So that's a conversation that needs to be had, probably with myself, you know, with the lender, to figure out like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the reason? What do you think? What's the benefit? Why do you want to do that?
Uh-oh.
Right. That's a good one. I mean, and this question also kind of touches upon that too, Krista. The question is, student loans also create barriers for a lot of people, and they just in their heads think that they will be disqualified because of how much debt they have. Or so, what is your advice when it comes to student loans?
You know, almost everybody's got a bunch of student loans back, and I forget what year it was, but everyone was like, college, college, college. Everyone go to college, you know, so everyone's got all these student loans. And, you know, if you have a lot of student loans, the rules are different between conventional and FHA. So if you have a lot of student loans, $200,000 in student loans, which people do have, I will steer them to an FHA loan, even if they have great credit, because the FHA rules are better for people that have student loan debt. We only count, you know, 0.5% or 0.5% of the balance as a monthly payment, whereas on conventional loans, we're going to count 1% of the payment if you don't have a payment set up already, like an income-based payment plan or something like that. So almost everybody that I deal with has student loans. Probably 75% of them have student loans. So don't let that be a hindrance to you if you want to come and buy a house.
Great questions. Let me see what else. So getting pre-qualified literally. Okay, this is somebody just thanking you, Krista. So when you get a chance, look at the chat. Here's another question about the deed. Going back to the deed. If you want to add someone to the deed, but they're not on your mortgage, is that possible?
You want to add someone to Say it
The deed,
again.
but not the mortgage. I'm assuming that a title person, but I feel like I've heard stories of people being married and say like the husband or